Chapter 13. Alicia placed a kiss on her son's forehead and then untangled his limbs from around her waist before sliding off her bed. Her son was lying in the middle of the full-sized bed. Alicia pulled the covers back over his sleeping form. Then she picked up the knife and her bedroom door key off the nightstand. She made sure to lock her bedroom door on her way out. Her bedroom was at one end of a short hallway. The other end of the hallway was her son's room, with the bathroom in the middle. In between was a passageway that led to the living room and kitchen. Alicia stopped in the open space and watched Cedar. He was sitting in the middle of their couch. His legs were open wide, and each arm branched along the couch. He was facing away from her towards a blank TV, but she was certain that he knew she was there. She turned and walked into the bathroom and opened a slim linen closet and pulled out her son's spare set of sheets and an extra blanket. She touched her pocket, feeling the reassurance of the knife, and walked into the living room. "I hope you don't mind dinosaurs. He loved them when he was younger, and it is the only extra sheet we have. The blanket isn't all that warm either, but it's all we have. Well, except the blanket on my son's bed, and you are not using that." The words came out in a nervous rush before she could get her mouth to stop talking. "Thank you. I'm sure they will be fine." "We don't have extra pillows. You will have to use the couch pillows, but you should have a pillowcase for that." She put the sheets and blanket on the arm of the couch and walked back to the bathroom. She pulled out the matching dinosaur pillowcase and tried to get her hands to stop shaking. She finally bunched them into fists, with a side of the pillowcase stuck in each hand, and pressed them to the temples of her head. Then she released her hands and walked back out. Cedar was standing with his nose wrinkled in confusion. On the couch was the top sheet splayed out in a haphazardly manner. In his hands were the bottom sheet and the blanket. He stood immobilized, as if unsure. "You have put sheets on a bed before?" Alicia asked. "This is not a bed. It is a couch." "Well, it is what we have to offer. If you want something else, then you are more than welcome to leave." "I cannot leave the prince unguarded. Now that I know he exists, it is my responsibility to see him to safety." "What prince?" Alicia asked. "Your son is the prince. Even in the human world, that is what you call the offspring of a king." "I thought his dad's name was King. Are you telling me you think he's royalty?" "He is royalty. Our land is ruled by a king who keeps us safe from the human world." "Put those down." Alicia gestured to the bedding in Cedar's hands. He reached out to hand them to her, but she stepped back away from him. "On the couch, please. Also, can you just walk over by the kitchen?" She waited until he had stepped away and then leaned over to start putting on the bedding. "Where exactly is this land of elves?" "It is a bit difficult to explain. It is here in the same place, except a little moved." "Like a different dimension?" She had finished the bottom sheet and was working on tucking the top sheet around the edges. "No, not like that. A long time ago, elves lived alongside humans. They stayed hidden until the human population grew so much that we no longer could. So our first king used his illusionary magic to create the in-between, a world that reflects the human world. It is anchored in the human world but lives side by side with it. Elves with illusionary magic can slide between the two worlds." She had finished putting down the blanket and stuffing the square couch pillows in the rectangular pillowcases, yet neither of them moved. "Why didn't the elves just stay and live with humans?" "We tried. Humans were jealous of our magic and became violent. It was better for everyone for us to go." "You have this magic to slip between these worlds?" "I do." "You could have taken my son right out from under me and I wouldn't have been able to follow." "I could have, but your son has the magic to come right back. I'm pretty sure he has accidentally traveled between worlds before. If I had truly believed he was half-elf, I probably would have taken him from the school." Alicia thought back to the flimsy lock on her bedroom door. If this was all real, then what could stop him from grabbing her son while she slept? "I won't take him," Cedar said, as if reading her mind. "At least, I won't take him without you. I already promised him that. Besides, it isn't quite what you think. My magic isn't strong enough to let me slip through whenever I want. I have to use doorways, places where our worlds are more connected." "You could be saying that to make me let down my guard. Then you would take off with my son." "I wouldn't do that. Kenny is too special. It will be easier to just take you with us. Once you know he is safe, you can come back to the human world." "He is not going. You are not taking him." Cedar took a step towards her, and Alicia moved off the couch and pulled out the knife from her pocket. She held it up to him, even though the knife was still in its protective sleeve. "It's okay. We don't have to go anywhere, at least right now. I get why you don't trust me to protect your son." "I don't understand why you want him so bad. Can't you just leave us alone? That man must have other kids running around here. Go see if one of them wants to go with you." "There are no other children. I don't know how your son exists. Elves and humans cannot have children, and the king recently made sure he wouldn't have any elven offspring either. Kenny is his only kid." Cedar said this in such an offhanded way, yet the implications hit Alicia immediately. "What do you mean that elves and humans cannot have children?" Cedar froze, realizing what he had just admitted. "It has just never happened before. It is why I thought you were trying to get attention, why I never expected to find an actual elven child." "You mean half-elven child?" "Yes." "He is my child. I was pregnant with him for the full term. I gave birth to him. He is my child." "I was not trying to imply otherwise. Kenny is not a full elf. He feels like an elf, but he doesn't at the same time. As far as I know, he is the first of his kind." "How did it happen? If it never had before, why now with me?" "I don't know. Maybe it can happen, it just has never happened before. After all, elves do not reproduce as often as humans. Most elves stay in the in-between. Only a few go to the human world. Maybe we just assumed that it was not possible when it was just probable." Alicia heard him say the words, but even she could tell he did not mean them. Kenny had always been her miracle, the most fantastic thing to have come out of the most horrible experience of her life. "Hopefully when I work with him, I will have more answers for you."